Okay, so this was the first time haunt of ours that we went to in Portage, Indiana. Just got in under the wire on this one. They were just closing. We were the last customers, almost last customers of the night. This was Haunted Hills Hospital. What did you think, Laura? First time visit?
First time visit was great. I loved it. I know actually it was raining really hard. I mean, there weren't many people. We just made it, and I'm glad we did because, you know, if we got there a little bit later, we would have missed out on seeing this one this year. But it was great. I loved it. First of all, in the waiting area, they have a TV, and they were showing like trailers from old horror movies, and Halloween was one of them. There are other ones as well, but in like old commercials, you know, setting the theme and setting, you know, the atmosphere for what you're going to see in the house. And then they had a guy that he was pretty, you know, menacing looking, but he had this high-pitched voice, you know, to go over everything, which was cool. But the best part that was worth it, you know, going to it, worth everything seen is they had this, it was like a nurse, I don't know what it was, but she had a bandage around her head, like a skirt and like heels, and she was, when you went in and you had the rules and everything, she's just there, like a presence, but you don't really, I mean, she never said anything, I mean, it was just quiet, but like a presence, and the way she moved, like jerky movements, and it was just so cool because you go through this haunted house and you see different scenes, and there were some really cool scenes, but she'd be gone, and then all of a sudden she'd reappear, and you'd see her again, and she didn't really interact with us. Like, it wasn't like she was, you know, coming after you or anything. She was just there, a presence, and it was just so cool. And there was this one room where it was all strobe lights, and there was a guy hanging, which was really a good scene, because he's hanging, he almost looked dead, and he's on chains, and next thing you know, you walk by and he's alive and he's coming after you. But even there in that scene, you're kind of going through a walkway, like almost like a little maze, but it's all strobe lights. And the next thing you know, there she is, she's appearing, and she's, you know, doing the jerky movements, and you see with the strobe light, and it looked even cooler with the strobe lights. So, I mean, to me, that was a great effect, just having someone in there, like a character that really wasn't like going after you or anything, but just present there and entertaining in a whole new way. So for me, I loved it. I thought it was great. Looking forward to next year. That's a 5 chainsaw for me. 5 out of 5.
Okay, so I'm going to echo what Laura said. It was a great first time haunt. It was one of those discoveries. If we hadn't happened to be going to Indiana at that particular night, we would have missed it because we wouldn't necessarily make a trip all the way out there. But this one was well worth it, and it was rainy, and the atmosphere just added to it because it was primarily outdoors. But they did make a lot of the sets look like they were indoors, even though you were outside. They had full rooms and things that were out. They had walls and things, but no ceiling, so there was a little bit of rain coming in and things. One of the things they did well was the dead guy that Laura mentioned. He was hanging by 2 chains, and the chains were wrapped around, it looked like wrapped around his neck, and he was hanging and he was dead, and you had to walk around him, and then all of a sudden he came alive at you. And they did that twice. There was another scene where there was a guy hanging from a wooden beam, and he looked like he was a hanged man, and he came alive too. That was good. A couple other things. I will mention the nurse. The nurse was fantastic. She was one of those characters that she kept in character the entire time we were there. We saw her as we were walking into the haunt. She came in behind us when we were waiting there. She was in the waiting room, but always in the background, doing all these jerky movements, and her face was covered in gauze, so you didn't see any face. And then she disappeared, and there she was again, and she's just doing her own thing like this and not paying any attention to what we were doing, which was really cool. Another thing that I enjoyed there at this particular haunt was when we went down in the elevator, they had one of these fake elevators to take you down to the basement. There was like a creepy elevator guy, but not too creepy. You know, he was just creepy enough, so he was amusing. And then when you got out of the elevator, there was this little kid. He was dressed in a skull mask, and he was hiding underneath something. Didn't know he was there, and I'm looking at something, and here he comes with a sword at my feet, which I found funny, and he kept following me. And he was like 3 feet tall, and he kept following me around with his sword, which I found pretty funny. So overall, great haunt, good atmosphere, good techniques in there. The characters were great. We loved it. You know, we're happy that we were there, and we want to make sure that we go there again. Haunted Hills Hospital was a great haunt. One last thing I will add to that, and this is one of the few haunts that I can ever say I've been in that was so realistic that I actually got hurt, because when we came downstairs, one of the characters was shaking a milk carton, gallon milk plastic carton with something in it, and I got too close, or she got too close to me, and bam, hit me right in the nose, which was pretty funny, I have to say. It didn't hurt, but it was kind of shocking. So it wasn't the shock I was looking for, but it was still a memorable thing about Haunted Hill. So I really enjoyed it. It was a great 5 stars for me.